Hi guys, I'm Ryan Houston and welcome to my fly tying channel. This channel contains hundreds of different videos covering all manner of different patterns, techniques and styles of fly tying. There's something here to suit almost everybody, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, let's get on with the show. Hi guys, we'll tie a salmon fly, and this one is going to be like a Sunray variant of a Phatagorva. So we're going to tie it on a clear, hard or rigid plastic tube. So I'm just going to flare the end, and then to a lesser degree the back end that's going to accept the junction tubing, and that'll just help it stay on. Put this into my tube holder, get the needle up through it and tighten down onto it. So I'm going to tie this fly with a white gel spun, although for purposes of the black head it may be easier for you to use a black tying thread. So I'm going to take the thread loosely down the body. We're leaving a bit of space at the back because it's a short bodied sort of style fly. And I'm going to use this gold braid. So tie that in and then take my tying thread back up to the front of the fly. And to secure this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a bit of super glue onto the tube, and while it's still wet then I'm going to wrap this braid into it, and that will just adhere it the whole way up. There'll be no need for a rib or anything on this fly. Take it up to the front and stop with a head's distance to go, and tie that down. So that's the basis for our body. It's the same type of body material, only in gold, as I use for the standard Sunray. So the underwing on this, I'm going to use an orange bucktail. So I'll take a bunch of that and cut it off. And what I want this to be is that it's going to sort of support the wing up and away from the hooks. So it's not that long, but it's just stretching back to give us that support and lift. So cut it off flat, put it up on top and get a couple of wraps onto it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive my thumbnail into it, and that will kind of splay it around, give this V sort of effect. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of super glue onto the base of it there and bind that down. And that gives us this V support. So for a bit of flash, we're going to add in a little bit of mirage here. So it depends how flashy you want your fly to be. You can add several layers. I'm only going to be putting this one in, so I'm going to put one strand in and fold it back on itself and cut this off level with the back of the wing. And again, because the tinsels and that are the flash materials, they can be prone to tangling. So again, if we keep it short in here and supported by this, it should less chance of it tangling with our hooks. So we need a middle portion or bulk to the wing. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use sort of fox yard hair. I'm going to use this fiery brown sort of colour, but fox is another material that can matte. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to grab it about 2/3 of the way along its length, and then I'm just going to pull out the shorter underfur, so it's only leaving a little bit of the longer underfur and the yard hairs in there, and this is going to stretch a bit longer than the bucktail wing. So we'll just trim that to length, set it up on top, a couple of laps, and again just spread the base of it out. And then I'm going to super glue a couple of inches of my tying thread, hold that down flat against the top and just wrap forward till we hit the front of the head, and then come back, and that should hold that in place. Just take an eyelash brush and brush that out, separate it out. So that's our supporting wing to take the goat top wing. So we're going to use this fiery brown goat here. This is a cashmere goat, so it's very silky soft, but it's longer than the fly I intend to tie here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the tips and I'm going to pull the base out, which is still, it's probably the length that I want then, and then I'm going to match the tips of that up to the tips of the longest hair that I pulled out. And now you'll see that these are the long hairs and this is the base of the other. So I'm just going to transfer that into my hand, pinch it good and tight, and cut that off square. And then set that up on top, and again a couple of turns, splay it out a bit. And goat is a thing that doesn't like to compress, so it can slip out, so I'm just going to dab a little bit of super glue just into the cut ends of that and then wrap over it. Now it takes a bit of practice to get that done before it sets itself and then creates a weird shaped head for you, so you can use like a clear varnish for that if you want instead. Once it's up on top, a bit of a brush in, and that'll meld our whole wing together, give us this fiery brown orange wing. So then I'm going to take some peacock herl and take out 4 to 6 strands depending on the size of the fly you're tying. I'm going to set that on top, and not full length, so it's nearly at the tips here but not just quite. And that, because it tends to be a little bit more fragile, and that'll just protect it a little bit sitting in the wing itself. Tie it on, trim it off. So I'm going to put a little throat on this because Phatagorva has like a black hackle on it. Now, if you'd put that on first, the step of the body here would have kicked it out. So it depends, if you want that for more play you can do that. But in this instance I've used the building up of the head has now made this level, and so the hackle or throat, which is just a bunch of black schlappen fibres here, that will now sit much flusher to the body. I'll tie that in, trim it off, and then we're going to put eyes on this fly. So for the eyes I'm going to use this Jungle Cock sub here, Pro Sport one I think. So I'm just going to take the 2 sub feathers and cut them off so that they're the same length. And then 1 on each side. Now I'm just going to super glue 10 centimeters or so of my tying thread, come to the front and start moving back and creating the head in the glue. We'll seal it and make it very secure. Trim that off, and then I'm just going to take the glue again and just give that head a coat. So that's the head sealed as such. Fly is tied. We need to finish the head off. I'm going to finish it in black, so I'm just going to set this aside to dry. And what we'll do is we will take a previous one, and we'll take it and finish it off. So put that back in the vase. And the super glue has dried on this one now, so I'm going to take my black varnish and just create a coat around the head, and that is it. That just needs to dry now. So what I'll do with that is I'll actually dry it pointing straight up. So how I do that is I take the tube and stick a cocktail stick into the bottom end of it, and then I'll set that into a foam holder, and that will just hold the flies pointing upright, and that will allow, because of the nature of the varnish, there's a little bit of run in it, it'll allow it to run back and create that sort of more cone shaped head. If you just leave it like that, it'll probably settle underneath and give you a little bit of a bump. So hopefully you liked what you've seen. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends, check out all the other videos on the channel, and until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.